Welcome back to Kingdom Talk Channel. This is session 14. It's 2022. I'm Reverend Shirley Young, and we are going to continue with the book of Revelation. Last time we were together, everybody was ordered to get the mark of the beast. The previous chapter before that, Satan has lost his position as a prince of the power of the air, and he's angry with the Jewish people. He's angry with anybody who's calls on the name of the Lord. And he insists that now everybody has to get the mark of the beast. And so he has him and his cohorts are now busy about doing that. And let's see what happens after everybody's ordered to get the mark of the beast. Revelation 14, 1 through 5. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the mountain, Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as it were the voice of many waters, and the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sang as it were a new song before the throne. And behold, the four beasts, the living creatures, and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they were virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whatsoever he goes. These are the redeemed from among men, being the first fruit unto God and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God. So let's back up and go over it as usual. So this is, remember, the 144,000 were marked when the locusts were released from the bottomless pit, and they were marked so they would not be harmed by the locust attack. And but now we see what the mark is. We were told they were marked, and now we tell the mark was actually the Father's name written in their forehead. No wonder enemy wants to mark somebody. He always want to be the pretend fake God and mark somebody. So now Father was marking his people. Now here he comes wanting to mark people. So yes, so now we know the 144,000 have the name of the Father in their head. That is the mark they carry. He says, then he heard a loud voice that sounds like many waters. And I told you some previous chapters, whenever it's talking about voice of many waters, it's talking about Jesus. And then the voice of thunders is the Father. So he hears the voice of Jesus and the fathers. And then there's people harping, because now they're, in heaven. Okay, John is seeing them in heaven. And they sang a song, and the body of Christ is there, and the living creatures is there. And it talks about the elders, which I told you represented the body of Christ is there as well. And only the 144 could sing the song. And they have now been redeemed from the earth. Now, it doesn't say they were raptured up or anything instantly. So it just said they've been redeemed from the earth. So whether they got martyred because they wouldn't accept the mark of the beast, which is more than likely. But here they are. They now appear in Mount Zion of heaven with Jesus. All right. It says that they were virgins, which it says they weren't defiled with women, which means they had never been with a woman before. So obviously they are men. This 144,000 representing the tribe of Israel here, and they had never been with a woman before. Now, defiled doesn't mean there was something wrong with being with a woman, obviously, because God's idea for man and woman to reproduce. So, but in this case, these people did not. All right. So, and they were the first fruit. They're set aside for God, the Father, and the Lamb, and they said they followed him all day. And it also says there was no guile, no wrong was found in their mouth. All right. So they're standing before the throne of God. Revelation 14, 6 through 10. And I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel preached unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation, kindreds and tongues and people, saying with loud voices, fear God, give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him who made heaven and earth and the seas and the fountain of the waters. Verse 8, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations to drink the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And a third angel followed them, saying, with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, or receive the mark in his forehead or his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of indignation and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Okay, so this is going to continue the next chapter. Let's back up and let's take a look at this. So now we have an angel flying in the midst of the air, and he's preaching. All right, this angel is preaching to the nations. Before, it's just mankind was allowed to preach. Now this angel is preaching to people, and they can hear it in their own tongues, that he's telling them to fear God. Judgment is coming. He's warning them, because God is the one who made heaven and earth. And everything that you see here, he says, he reminds them. And then the second angel sounds, says, warns that Babylon, this great city, is fallen. And this great city is only mentioned every time it's mentioned. The great city keeps referencing Jerusalem. So it's like a spiritual, it's being called Babylon. It says that now being made to drink with the wrath of God because of the fornication. In other words, the ungodly behavior that's been going on, and the influence that is influencing everybody else. And then it says the third angel follows, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast, he warns him, don't you take this mark, don't you put it in your forehead, don't you put it on your hand, because the wrath of God's going to come with full measure. This ain't like no mixed drink. It's going to be strong, and it's coming hard with fire and brimstone. And the angels are going to witness this happening to those who have decided to take this mark. Revelations 14:11 through 13. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever. And they have no rest day or night who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever received the mark of his name. So there's a mark there, but it's a mark of his name. Whatever this person that it really refers to as the Antichrist, whatever it is, his name or the kingdom, whatever his mark is, he says, this is just bad. They're not going to get any rest for having taken this. And this is the patience of the saints. Anybody who's left behind going through this, because everybody didn't go up in the rapture, because everybody didn't accept Christ. There was a point where some people were taken up out of it before, but still people were refusing God. But there's people now down there who are going to accept God, but they're going to have to just last through this. Okay, he says, here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Verse 13, and hear the voice of heaven saying, right, blessed are they that die in the Lord. Henceforth, yes, said the Spirit, they that rest from their labors and their works to follow them. So he reminds them that if you're down there and you're enduring all this kind of stuff and you've now become a believer, he's saying to him, you got just be patient. Don't give in to the mark of the beast, because they're going to be tormented for having done that. Revelation 14, verses 13 through 14. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, right, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord henceforth. Yes, said the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors and their works will follow them. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud sat like the Son of Man, having his head with a gold crown, and he had in his hand a sharp sickle. I could not resist the little black man on the cloud there. All right, so John is busy writing what he sees, and he hears him say, everybody who dies right here and dies in the Lord, you're still blessed. He reminds them, you are still blessed. A voice from heaven saying, you are still blessed if you die, because they're going to die if they don't take the mark of the beast. And then Jesus appears, sitting on a cloud with a sickle, is what John sees. He's ready. Revelation 14:15 through 16. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest is ripe, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. Verse 16, and he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle to the earth, and the earth was reaped. All right, they're about to be relieved from being down there. They have become believers. We're going to find out later more about that. Let's go forward. Revelation 14:17 through 20. And another angel came out of the temple, which is in heaven. He also having a sickle. And another angel came out from the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a loud voice to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in thy sickle and gather the clusters of the grapes of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. Verse 19, and the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. Verse 14, chapter 14, verse 20. And the winepress was trotted outside the city, and the blood flowed up to the winepress as high as a horse bridle of 200 miles. Wow. So now this angel comes out, and his sickle is not good. The one Jesus used was good, but this one is now means they are thrown into the wrath of God. And John sees, it looks like blood coming up to the horse's bridle. Wow. Now remember, John is in the vision of how bad it is, okay? All right, now, that is the end of that chapter, my brothers and sisters. And now just put this picture up, just remind us where the saints are, those who have already been raptured, sitting around the throne of God with gold crowns on their head and white robes, waiting for anybody else that's going to be reaped on the earth after going through this wrath. All right, I'm going to end it right there for today. You be blessed, my kingly brothers and sisters. Tell somebody about Jesus. Until next time.